They all said he was finished, washed up, done. The party was supposed to celebrate the return of the old tycoon, a man once envied, feared, and worshipped on the coast. He'd vanished years earlier, broke, forgotten, humiliated, and now he was back. But no one expected that entrance. Silver hair slicked back, white linen suit sharper than any blade in the room, and behind him, a golden briefcase. Every camera turned, every whisper froze. No one could guess what was in that case. But one thing was clear. He wasn't just back, he was untouchable. That night, the room sparkled with champagne and envy. But as the music played, deals were whispered behind closed doors, and someone, no, more than one, was already plotting to take him down again. Because in this world, power is never given, it's taken. And the ones who pretend to toast your return are often the same ones sharpening the knives behind your back. But here's what they didn't know. The Silver Fox Magnate had learned one brutal truth while broke. Never play fair when you're playing with snakes. He'd returned with more than money. He brought a plan, a trap, and hidden behind velvet and gold, inside that legendary safe, was the one thing that would destroy his enemies without even raising his voice. This isn't just a story about betrayal. It's about payback served colder than the champagne they spilled trying to sabotage him. And tonight, you'll see how the game really ends when the old tycoon stops playing nice. The night they turned their backs on the magnate. He walked into the ballroom like a ghost, one they all thought they'd buried. The chandeliers trembled in golden light, casting a heavenly glow over a party filled with sinners. Women gasped, men stiffened their shoulders. The music didn't stop, but for a second, the rhythm of the room did. There he was, the Silver Fox Magnate. Back from the ashes they poured on him. 3 years ago, they mocked him when his empire crumbled. One by one, they walked away. The friends who toasted his victories vanished like smoke. The woman he once trusted most, she was now married to his former business partner, and the very same people who called him legend now whispered behind their wine glasses, he'll never rise again. But tonight, he rose. The suit, custom. The watch, one of a kind. The presence, unshakable. Everyone wanted to know, how? How could a man fall that deep and climb that high again without anyone noticing? What deal did he strike in the dark? Who helped him? What was in that golden safe? But no one dared ask. They only smiled, too wide, too fake, while their minds spun with fear. And as the drinks flowed and the cameras flashed, a different game was unfolding. One by one, the people who owed him respect began circling like vultures. Smiles turned sharp. Old allies whispered with old enemies. They decided in secret that he would never be allowed to rise above them again. Not after what he'd survived, not with that much power in his hands. So, behind the laughter and crystal glasses, betrayal was already in motion. They planned to cut him off from the inside. Business partners turning informants, lawyers flipping loyalties, even a journalist on his payroll secretly working for someone else. But what they didn't know is that he'd expected every single one of them to betray him. Because when you fall as hard as he once did, you learn to memorize every shadow. And the golden safe? It wasn't just a symbol. It was the beginning of their end. Secrets behind velvet curtains. They thought the velvet hid nothing but luxury. Behind every smile that night, there was a ticking clock. Whispers swirled like cigar smoke in the corners of the ballroom. Laughter echoed from wine-stained lips that hid daggers behind them. But behind the velvet curtains, tucked away from the laughter, from the clinking glasses and the shallow toasts, something else was watching. Cameras, not the kind used for press coverage or social media fluff. No, these were discreet, silent, hidden in handcrafted statues, within crystal vases, even beneath the grand piano. And they weren't there for vanity. They were there for insurance. You see, the Silver Fox Magnate hadn't just come back to host a party. He came back to watch them betray him in real time. Every conversation was recorded, every wandering eye, every slip of truth spilled in the shadows. Because the one thing people do at a party, especially the rich and entitled, is let their guard down. And he was counting on that. That night, his assistant, a woman no one had ever seen before, moved through the crowd with the grace of a ghost. She wore silence like perfume. She wasn't there to flirt, to drink, or to dance. She was there to collect secrets. One man pulled her close and whispered a deal involving Swiss accounts and false signatures. Another slipped her a business card with a phone number that wasn't supposed to exist. She smiled at them all, but she wasn't impressed. She was instructed to only report back to one man, and he was 3 steps ahead of them all. Upstairs, in a locked study, the magnate watched it unfold. Live feeds on a screen wall. He sipped something dark, something expensive, and let them dance in their illusion of dominance. Because they hadn't just underestimated him, they'd forgotten who taught them the game in the first place. But then, something unexpected happened. The woman, the one he once trusted with everything. She entered a private room, pulled out a hidden phone, and spoke a name he never expected to hear again. A name he had erased from every file, every deal, every part of his life. Someone had resurfaced. Someone more dangerous than betrayal itself. And just like that, the party turned into a war zone in disguise. The real question wasn't who betrayed the magnate. It was, who was the traitor really working for? The golden safe wasn't just a safe. In the heart of the magnate's mansion, hidden behind a false wall in the study, stood a golden safe so ornate, it looked more like art than security. Etched with lions, serpents, and the initials of a forgotten dynasty, it didn't just protect valuables. It intimidated anyone who dared approach. Rumors had swirled for years about its contents. Diamonds, illegal bonds, blackmail material, maybe even the deed to an island no one could find on the map. But none of them were right, because this safe was never about what was inside. It was about who was meant to open it. You see, the magnate had designed it as a final line of defense, a vault of last resort, not for wealth, but for truth. Behind its heavy door wasn't gold or cash, but something far more volatile. A collection of confessions, voice recordings, forged contracts, hidden footage, and a journal, a handwritten one, with dates, names, and secrets that could crumble entire empires if they leaked. And here's the twist, they did leak, intentionally. Right as the betrayal climaxed, with conspirators growing bolder and hungrier, thinking they had outsmarted the old man once and for all, the magnate triggered the protocol. One push of a button, and the truth spilled out, drip by digital drip, onto private inboxes of journalists, investigators, rival tycoons. Those who thought they were safe began receiving video clips of themselves, saying things they never thought would see the light of day. One board member sobbed in the back of a Rolls-Royce after watching a leaked video of his own bribe. Another disappeared to Europe within hours. Panic spread. What they didn't know was that the magnate had encrypted the safe's contents with a key phrase only he could speak. But someone else did speak it. That woman, the one who slipped away during the party, the one they ignored. She had access. But how? Only one answer made sense. She wasn't just an assistant, she was family. And suddenly, everything shifted. The betrayal wasn't about business anymore. It was about blood, and someone wanted to erase the magnate's legacy for good. The truth always knocks twice. The magnate had learned one brutal lesson in his climb to the top. People rarely betray you just once. The first stab is ego, the second is ambition, and the third, that's revenge. That's where things get personal. So when the first wave of leaked secrets detonated, he didn't gloat. He didn't celebrate. He watched, carefully, quietly, Because the real truth wasn't what was inside the golden safe. It was who would show up after it opened. And sure enough, they came, one by one. Not through the front gates, but through back alleys, encrypted messages, hushed phone calls. They wanted to negotiate, to apologize, to offer deals, to bury the past before it buried them. But the magnate was done playing chess. He wanted confession. He wanted them to knock twice. And so he laid a second trap. A secret dinner, held at a penthouse suite overlooking the city, lavish, intimate, and impossible to resist. Each guest received a black envelope. No name, just a time, a date, and the words, "Let's make this right." The guests arrived. Powerful men, elegant women, former allies, bitter enemies, everyone who had once smiled in his presence while carving out pieces of his fortune behind his back. What they didn't know, the entire suite was wired. Cameras, microphones, even pressure sensors under the rug. Nothing was off record. Every toast, every lie, every nervous glance, it was all being streamed directly to a secured server in a place no one could reach. Then came the twist. As dessert was served, the lights dimmed, and the magnate's voice echoed through the speakers. Not live, pre-recorded, from months before. When you hear this, I may be gone, or I may be watching. Either way, if you're in this room, you've already lost. Because while you thought you were watching me fall, I was learning who you really are. Silence, then gasps. A woman clutched her pearls. A man stood up, knocking over his glass. Another bolted for the door, locked. It was a reckoning. They thought the magnate was bluffing, but the truth always knocks twice. First at your conscience, then at your door. He who laughs last is always the loudest. They thought he was finished. They paraded through his ruins like vultures circling a fading myth, sipping from his glasses, flaunting his contacts, spending the crumbs of his legacy like it was their crown. But the old magnate, he was never chasing applause. He was designing the final act, and now it was time to let the curtain fall. Because when the cameras from the dinner went public, uncut, unfiltered, undeniable, everything changed. News outlets devoured the footage. Former investors reversed course. Public apologies flooded in like cheap perfume, reeking of fear and desperation. But none of it mattered anymore, because while they were plotting his downfall in secret, he was building something bigger, something international, offshore accounts, silent partnerships, a media company that now owned the very tabloids printing lies about him, a real estate empire hidden under shell companies, and the crown jewel, a foundation in his name, fully funded by the fortune they tried to steal, dedicated to exposing corruption among elites. He didn't just reclaim his seat, he rebuilt the table, and this time, only truth had a place. As the magnate stepped back into the spotlight, older, wiser, untouchable, he didn't need to say a word. His silence was louder than their scandals, his smirk sharper than their plots. They underestimated the man who had built himself from ashes once before. But this time, they didn't just lose to a survivor. They lost to a legend, and legends, they don't whisper their victories, they roar. So if you're watching this, understand something. Every person who's ever been betrayed, abandoned, humiliated, you are not done. You're just getting started. They may laugh first, but you'll laugh last, and it'll echo louder than their silence ever could. Now tell me, do you want more stories like this? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next twisted chapter in the magnate's journey. And if this tale hit you right in the gut, leave a comment, like this video. Share it with someone who needs to remember, the game only ends when you say it does.